Alrighty, Chelsea Gunner back here again today. Got two revolvers on the bench. As you can see, I have a tracker, a Taurus tracker. This is a 44 mag, although you can get a 627 357 mag in the exact same configuration. I'm going to be comparing it today to my Ruger GP100, which is chambered in 357 Magnum. These are both kind of a line, whereas like Smith tends to have a number for a specific model number and caliber. Tracker tends to have, or Taurus tends to have the tracker line. There's a couple different options. You can get some 22s. There's some quick exchange cylinders models. You can get it, again, like this one's in 44 mag or 357. The GP100, you can get in, obviously, 357 Magnum, 10 millimeter, 327 Federal Magnum, 44 Special, 22, and I believe that's it. So again, they're kind of a line. You hear GP100, again, you get different barrel lengths for both of these as well. So, but by and large, these guns are very similar because they're both a 4-inch-ish model, or 4-inch barrel model. This is 4.2 inches. This is at 4 inches. So I guess I'll, get into some of the dimensions. So overall length here on the tracker is 8.75 inches. On the GP100, it is 9.5 inches. And we'll go with the widest part to compare width. On the cylinder, now this being a 44 mag, might not translate 100%, but fairly similar. I'm coming in at 1.55 inches at the widest point. On the GP100, I'm coming in at 1.54 inches. So, very similar there. One thing, if you set these next to each other, you'll see that the Ruger is a little bit thicker in the frame. So go ahead and check here on the top strap. 0.62 inches on the Taurus tracker, and we got 0.67 inches on the GP100. Biggest reason is the Taurus revolvers are typically forged, so you have a little bit finer, finer frames and stuff like that, kind of like a Smith again. Whereas the GP100s and a lot of Ruger revolvers, basically all of them, use all these castings. It's an investment cast process. They make them a little bit beefier. Investment casting doesn't typically lend itself well to like doing super small parts, like real thin. So they make them beefy. I don't think anybody's ever complained about the strength of a Ruger. Typically loads, real hot loads usually are almost always safe in, Ruger firearms. So, carrying on, the weight on the tracker is 35 ounces. Weight on the GP100 is 40 ounces. And you can kind of feel the difference pretty easily. I guess one big point here I'm going to talk about is price-wise. So MSRP on the GP100 as of the date of this video, in 2021, $829. So I did not pay that for this. I paid around $690, and that's kind of at the height of a lot of high gun purchases. So yes, you might be able to find it cheaper depending on situations in the marketplace, but that's going to be in there in that price range. MSRP on the tracker, this being a 44 mag version, those tend to go for MSRP around $580. The 627, looking it up at the time of this video, is $534. That being said, I picked up this 44 mag version for around $450 new. Pretty reasonable. I have not, if I see a 627, I might pick it up. This would be a little bit more apples to apples, but I guess I would expect a 627 to be a little cheaper than a 44 mag. So if anybody has any comment on that, feel free to chime in, and it'd be great to know. So I'm going to kind of go through just a couple of the key differences here. Oh, real quick, I want to talk about capacity here. GP100 is a 6-round standard. You can get it in a 7-round capacity as well. The tracker, this being a 44 mag, is 5, but in the 357, the current model they offer now is a 7-shot. So a lot of nice capacity there in this size of revolver, if you tend to go with that option. Okay, so carrying on. Both these guns are stainless steel. The Taurus has kind of a bead blast finish, really lends itself well to wear and abuse. The GP100 is more of a brushed, more polished look. Kind of a personal preference there. If you're going to be carrying it in a day-to-day basis, I mean, this is probably going to lend itself to carrying and lasting quite a bit, hiding some of the wear, but eventually it really won't matter. Just something to know. All right, so now I'm going to get into some key differences here between them. Again, these aren't exact, in the same realm. The tracker tends to be more like a Smith & Wesson, as all of Taurus revolvers are. They use these side plates here, where you take a couple screws to pop the side plate off to be able to get to the internals. The Ruger has a monolithic frame, so as you can see, there is no such side plate. To get inside the internals, you can see there's a line break here above the trigger. You take your grip off, and you'll be able to pull, a whole module down and get to the guts that way, as you have a few pins holding things together. A little bit different. Some people say makes it quite a bit stronger, the Rugers, but I guess time will tell. A lot of people, Ruger GP100 has been around for since the mid 80s. I guess I'm not 100% sure on the tracker when they came around, but they've been around both long enough where I think people have a pretty good consensus on, longevity. And I haven't really heard of a ton of issues with either. Another big thing to note is obviously the barrels. On the tracker series, typically they all come with a ported barrel. As you can see on both sides, there's 4 holes. And these have what is known as kind of an expansion chamber on the last, inch, give or take, of the barrel. So in reality, you only have about 3 or so inches of barrel length, of real barrel length, that's engaging the bullet with rifling. Not sure, long term, as far as what that would do to the velocity and whatnot. But again, Ruger has a 4.2 inch barrel. So, and that's all the way, rifling all the way through. So, again, I do think that the porting does help, especially this one being a 44 mag. Just different strokes for different folks, I guess. Another big key difference is how the cylinder release works. So, as you can see, this is a lot like a Smith & Wesson. You have a forward pushing release. Pretty simple. The Ruger, they tend to gravitate towards the push button release. So as you can see, you just push the button, the cylinder pops out. And that's, again, it's kind of a manual of arms of what you'd be used to. If you're going to get the GP100, I don't think it's going to make a big difference if you're really used to this style. It's just something you'd have to get used to. And that being said, the cylinder itself, very well done on the Ruger here. You got a nice, on the crane, you got a nice detent. Oh, if I can get it to pick up. Nice detent here for locking up. The cylinder locks up really tight. Little wiggle, pretty normal. Not too bad at all. The tracker has quite a bit more wiggle. You have a small detent here. So I tend to think that the lockup is quite a bit stronger on the Ruger design. That's just my opinion. If anybody has a different opinion, I'd like to know it. Another big difference is how the sights are. They're both pretty, feature packed. So on a tracker, you have, adjustability for windage as well as elevation. You have a orange sight post here at the front. Pretty good ramp going up. So if you take the sight picture there, pretty decent. I don't have too many issues with it. You know, and it's the rear sight is held in with a little pin here, and I mean that's pretty simple. Big thing to note: there isn't a lot of aftermarket availability for the Taurus revolvers. So if you're getting one, you don't like the sights, that is going to be kind of a problem if you were wanting to switch them out. Anecdotally, there's some Smith sights that can fit with a little work, but there's actually quite a shortage of actually Taurus made, you know, to use as an aftermarket sight. That being said, on the GP100, you tend to have a Glock rear style field goal. It is adjustable for windage and elevation. This rear sight is held on with a little pin and by the screw there. But the front sight is where things get interesting. You have a little plunger you can push in and pop this sight out and switch out to if you wanted to run a fiber optic. Real easy. A lot of aftermarket support for the sights on these. So that's definitely a key bonus, I think, for the Ruger GP100. So, I mean, that's, again, just something to know. Now, there is a lot of aftermarket support in terms of grips. So as you can see, GP100 comes with some different styles. Anymore, they tend to run with these mono grips by Hogue. Pretty good grip. I can get 3 fingers on here, great. Fits my hand great. The Taurus tracker typically came with, these are called ribber grips. And when you grip onto them, they have these little ribs here, as you can see. They're slotted, and as you grip on, they kind of collapse and kind of form. They're pretty comfy. They let you get a decent grip onto the revolver itself, but I picked these up. These are Hogue mono grips, pretty similar again to the Ruger. They're a little shorter, but they fit nice. About 24 bucks. I believe Taurus now sells these on their website, so it is a little bit of a nice option to have if you don't like the grips. Again, I think at the time Taurus has changed their, you know, OEM grips to a little bit different style, but I still see these quite often on ones for sale when you can find them. Well, let's see, anything else I want to talk about here? Overall fit and finish, I mean, Taurus has, you know, decent engraving here. The tracker logo right here. You got a little bowl on the back for the Taurus logo. Not bad, pretty clean. Ruger has on this side the read instruction manual. People tend to dislike that, but the Ruger GP100, pretty well done, pretty clear, crisp, and with the small Ruger logo down there. But yeah, I mean, these are both really nice revolvers. I think if you were torn between getting one or the other, price would play, and price is a big factor. You know, I don't think you'd be too terribly suited by a tracker. Do I think that the GP100 is going to last quite a bit longer in the end? Probably. It's probably capable of handling much higher round counts. And that goes into the point of saying that Ruger has a lot better customer service reputation than Taurus does. But, you know, I guess it depends on you. And I mean, this being basically $250 more, you know, what's it worth to you? Again, if you wanted to smith, I don't have one, but if you wanted to smith like a 686, which would be similar in this size class, you're looking at even more above the Ruger GP100. But that's not what this video is, and I'm not comparing that one today. So, but between these two, I think that, you know, you'd be suited pretty well by both. If I did it again and I only had to have one, I would probably tend to gravitate more towards the Ruger. You know, biggest reason is aftermarket support for sights, as well as Taurus's reputation. Or sorry, Ruger's reputation. Taurus, fine revolver. It's just not quite as nice. But if you're looking for, you know, a home defense gun, if you're looking for something, I mean, both would be fine for carry or home defense. But I just think that personally, the quality on Ruger is going to outshine over time. Eventually, I could see, you know, this kind of wearing out. So that'll be, you know, interesting to see. This being 44 mag and quite a bit, you know, lighter in construction, you know, I tend to think it's going to, you know, shoot itself out pretty, you know, rapidly. But again, I mean, they make new guns every day. So if I shoot this one out and it starts giving me problems, I'll probably still keep it and, you know, just use it sparingly. But I think they're both fine little revolvers. If you, again, I think it's just personal preference. I think they're both pretty decent, but I think GP100's definitely got a lot of positives over the Taurus. But that's up for you to decide, you know, just where the price goes for you. So, alrighty. Well, thanks for watching, and if you have any input, I'd like to hear it. I like both of them. I think they're both great. So, yeah, keep watching soon, and hopefully I'll have some more content real soon.